It wasn't supposed to happen. Not like this. Not in this era. Not between these two. One, a force of nature whose fists once echoed through the golden age of heavyweight boxing. The other, a fiery welterweight rising through the modern ranks with speed, precision, and a relentless hunger for respect. The moment the whispers turned into headlines, the boxing world tilted on its axis. Mike Tyson vs. Conor Benn. An impossible matchup on paper. Different eras, different weight classes, different legacies. Yet here they were, set to collide in a spectacle that promised chaos, controversy, and the kind of drama that keeps fans glued to their screens. Tyson, the name alone sparks adrenaline. Even now, decades removed from his prime, his presence sends chills. There's a reason he was called the baddest man on the planet. Not just for the knockouts or the speed, but for the primal fear he injected into every opponent. But this isn't 1986. This is a new generation. One Tyson has watched from afar, until now. The gloves are back on, but so are the questions. What drives a man like Tyson to return? Is it legacy, pride, or something deeper, something unresolved? Across the ring, Conor Benn is not a man who backs down from the impossible. Carving his own path out of a legendary shadow, he's built a reputation for aggression, grit, and a style that refuses to be ignored. Some call him reckless, others call him electric. But everyone agrees on one thing. He brings the fight to whoever stands in front of him. And now, it's Tyson. A man twice his age, twice his size, but not someone he fears. In fact, fear doesn't even seem to enter the equation. For Benn, this is about proving something. To the world, yes, but also to himself. That he belongs in the same breath as legends. That he can rewrite the narrative. It's the kind of matchup that defies logic but thrives on emotion. Critics question the fairness. Fans can't look away. Promoters call it genius. And somewhere in the middle of the noise, two fighters prepare to step into a ring that neither truly owns, but both are desperate to conquer. There's more than just physical power at play here. Ego, history, pride, legacy. All of it swirls beneath the surface, threatening to erupt with every passing second. As the cameras flash and the countdown ticks closer, one question hangs in the air, unanswered and electric. How do you prepare for a storm when you've never seen one like it before? Nobody saw it coming, not even those closest to the camps. What began as a spectacle took a sharp turn the moment leaked footage surfaced online. A grainy, off-angle clip showed Conor Benn sparring behind closed doors, exchanging blows with a heavyweight sparring partner that many claimed was a known contender. But it wasn't just the power Benn displayed, it was the controlled fury in every movement, as if he were channeling something darker than just ambition. Overnight, fans and critics were torn. Was this just smart preparation, or was Benn stepping into dangerous territory, experimenting with a weight and power game that could backfire in brutal fashion? Tyson, meanwhile, responded not with words, but silence. No interviews, no training clips, just isolation. Rumors swirled. Some whispered he'd suffered an injury. Others speculated that he was plotting something behind the scenes. His team remained tight-lipped, offering nothing but vague reassurances. That silence, however, only amplified the noise. The anticipation thickened. People weren't just tuning in for a fight anymore. They were tuning in for answers. And then came the twist that nobody expected. Days before the scheduled press conference, a respected boxing journalist dropped a bombshell. An alleged clause in the contract allowed for one round with no weight restrictions and no official scoring. A raw, untamed round where rules took the backseat to instinct. It was unprecedented. For one full round, there would be no referee interference, no tactical pauses, just pure combat. The reaction was immediate and divided. Some praised the boldness, calling it a throwback to the roots of real fighting. Others called it madness. But one thing was certain, it changed everything. Behind the scenes, both camps doubled down. Benn reportedly brought in former MMA coaches. Tyson, it was said, flew in a mental coach known for working with elite military operatives. This wasn't just boxing anymore. It was something more primal. And yet, within all the chaos, there was another story unfolding quietly. A rift within Benn's camp had begun to widen. His longtime cutman, known for keeping the young fighter grounded, had walked away just days before the announcement. No explanation, no statement, just gone. Some said it was about safety concerns. Others hinted at deeper disagreements over strategy. Either way, Ben's corner now looked a little more vulnerable. Meanwhile, whispers of Tyson's motivations grew louder. Sources close to his inner circle spoke of unfinished business. Something personal he hadn't spoken about publicly. Not legacy. Not money. Something else entirely. And though he hadn't spoken to the media, his eyes during public sightings told a story all their own. Focused, unreadable, but far from detached. Whatever he was chasing, it wasn't just about victory. With the fight approaching and pressure mounting, the world watches with bated breath. The stage is set, but the rules have changed. Now the question isn't just who will win, but what are they willing to become to do it? No one knew what to expect when the first bell rang. Not really. Predictions had been thrown around like confetti, but none of them prepared the crowd for what unfolded that night. Tyson stood across the ring like a statue carved from war, still, unmoving, his expression unreadable. Benn, on the other hand, bounced lightly on his feet, focused but restless. The weight of everything, expectations, whispers, legacy, visible in the tension behind his eyes. When the bell rang, the crowd didn't roar. It held its breath. What followed wasn't the slow dance many had predicted. Benn came out fast, threading punches through gaps that most heavyweights couldn't even see. He ducked, weaved, fired body shots with surgical precision. And, for a moment, it looked like he might actually overwhelm Tyson with speed. But then came the shift. Tyson took one step forward, just one, and the rhythm changed. The jab landed like a sledgehammer. Not fast, not flashy, but devastating in its timing. The crowd erupted. The atmosphere flipped from hopeful to hostile in seconds, as if everyone remembered who they were watching. By the middle of the second round, it was no longer a boxing match. It was survival. Benn's team, wide-eyed in the corner, called out instructions that echoed like desperation. Still, the younger fighter didn't retreat. He pressed forward, even as the power from Tyson's punches visibly rattled him. Then came that round, the unscored one, the unrestricted minute and a half that had stirred controversy since it was first leaked. Gloves tightened. The crowd leaned forward. No ref interruption. Just two men with too much to prove and too little to lose. That round was carnage. Tyson unleashed a combination that would have shattered most contenders. Benn staggered but didn't fall. He returned fire with a brutal hook to the ribs that bent Tyson sideways for the first time all night. And then it happened. Something no one predicted. Tyson smiled. Not a smirk. A genuine, teeth-bared grin in the middle of a firefight. The kind that says, "This is what I came for." It rattled Benn more than any punch could. The mental game was now in play. As the final round approached, both men were bloodied, exhausted, but locked in. Benn, breathing heavy, caught a look from someone in the front row, his father. Silent, stone-faced, but present. It hit him like a second wind. He didn't win that last round by dominating. He won it by refusing to fall. He matched Tyson, punch for punch, step for step, proving he belonged on that canvas. When the bell rang to end it, there was no immediate celebration. Just two warriors standing in the center, breathing the same storm they'd created. The judges' scorecards were announced, but nobody really cared. It was declared a draw, a decision that drew groans and cheers in equal measure. But that wasn't the twist. As the fighters' embrace, Tyson leaned in and whispered something into Benn's ear. The microphones didn't catch it. But moments later, Benn's eyes widened. In the post-fight interview, when asked what was said, Benn paused, then just smiled and shook his head. "It's not over," he said quietly. "Not even close." The audience erupted once more, not because they knew what it meant, but because they felt it. This wasn't just a one-off. This was the beginning of something bigger. And as both fighters walked out of the arena, one a legend reborn, the other a legacy rewritten, the world realized they hadn't witnessed a final chapter. They had just read the prologue.